All right, good morning and happy Thursday. I'd like to call the June 24th, 2021 meeting to order. We have a quorum with Ricky Erickson, Hai Vu, and Joe Arfano. And if Laura Dutton shows up, we will note that for the record. OGC is represented by Julie Davis and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. Before we get started, I'll also just make a note that Ryan Heaton is representing Budget for award number 8, which is an SJRPP project. And he will sign off on that instead of Lori. Before we move forward into the agenda to look at the items, let's discuss if there's any public comment. Is there anyone in the room that has public comment on CC1?
No one from the public is in the room, and we've had no email public comments.
Perfect. Thank you, Lynn. And is there anyone on the call that would like to make public comment on the agenda being presented today? All right. Seeing none, we will move into our items. We've got items 1 and 3 through 7. Item 2 was deferred, and they've all been reviewed by Procurement and Budget and are ready for the Awards Committee review. We will roll call. We will go through each item individually. I'll ask for a motion to approve in a second, and then we will roll call through the committee for approval for each item individually. We're going to start with the meeting minutes from June 10th, 2021. Do we have any comments or questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 10th, 2021?
Hai Vu, so moved.
Joe Arfano, second.
Great. We'll roll call through the committee to approve the meeting minutes, starting with Hai Vu.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
And Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 3 is a proposal. This is for Brandy Branch Generating Station. This is for a backup generator, the engineering services for that. So we are looking for the engineering design of a backup generator with a base tank and enclosure at Brandy Branch. Haddad Engineering, Inc. is the recommended awardee, and the negotiated amount is $57,400. We are expecting this design to be completed by September of 2021. Had good competition with 4 proposals, and the budget estimate compared to the award amount, our award amount is a little over 7% lower than what we had estimated. And we compare, our negotiated fees and rates to similar facility design projects and other engineering rates. For reasonableness, are there any questions or comments on award number 3?
No, but
All right.
Laura is here.
Hi, Jenny.
Thank you. Hey, Laura, I'll just note for the record that Laura will vote on all the awards going forward. We're just getting to award number 3, Laura.
Okay.
And it is a proposal. I'll just summarize real quick for you. And for engineering design of a backup generator with a base tank and enclosure at Brandy Branch. We had 4 proposals, good competition. The rate is reasonable. It's about 7.5% lower than our estimate. And Haddad Engineering, Inc. is our recommended awardee. Do we have any comments or questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 3.
Joe Arfano, so moved.
Hai
Thanks,
Vu,
Joe.
second.
Thank you, Hai. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 3, starting with Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Hai Vu.
Approved.
Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
And Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 4 is a contract amendment. This is for Oracle Customer to Meter, which is what we refer to as C2M, migration, licenses, support, and professional services. Oracle America, Inc. is our recommended awardee, and the amount is $1,326,803. I'm going to give a little bit of background, and then I'm going to ask Nathan in Stephen's absence to just give us a little bit of history on why we're coming back to the awards committee. But originally, this was approved back in November of 2018. And the request for this is for additional professional staffing services needed to complete our C2M project. The amendment, we're going to be utilizing ad hoc professional staffing rates, which were originally submitted on the bid. And I will ask Nathan to go into a little bit more detail about the project delays and the work outside the originally identified deliverables that they will be doing for us. And then also a little bit about the ratification. So Nathan, if you don't mind.
Morning, everyone. It's Nathan. Yes. So, as you stated, the original contract had defined milestones, clearly stated in the contract. However, there were also professional services rates that we're using for any unplanned and unexpected occurrences, which is the case here, where we're adding additional professional service hours based on those original contract rates. As far as the project delays specifically, I think Stephen or Maria could probably better talk to that than I can. Basically, I mean, this whole entire award is for, like we said, additional hours for the professional services of the implementation. So as far as the actual specific delays, I don't know, Stephen, if you want to address that specifically. Or Maria.
Maria,
Yeah.
Stephen's out today. So Maria, you want to give some more information to the committee?
Yes, good morning. Unfortunately, this has been a more difficult implementation than first expected. And so we're having to engage Oracle for a longer period of time to provide the necessary skill sets to finalize the implementation of the C2M suite of products at JEA.
Thanks, Maria. Do you guys have any questions about what exactly might have been delayed, or any questions about, we've used the ad hoc rates that were originally submitted to negotiate the rates going forward. Nathan, do you want to add a little bit to that about the reasonableness and the hours that we vetted to make sure that we have a good award total?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. There's backup documents included in this award that show there's a small piece of this that's it's called historical staff plan that's attached that shows the detailed breakdown of the rates and the job titles of people that we're using for these changes. And then there's also another attachment called the extension of services that gives a very detailed breakdown of how many hours we're using for each of these different people for the project. So all that detail kind of spells out and lays out exactly what we're doing and who's doing what on those attachments.
Yeah, the process to convert all the data that's coming from CCMP and from the existing MDM system e-meter, it is tedious at best, as we have to take all that data and convert it into the format that the new suite of products requires and process it and deposit it in the new databases. That's taking a lot more time than expected. And then, of course, there are bugs, for lack of a better term, that need to be addressed in order for the system to be adequate to be used at JEA.
Thanks, guys. Any questions? Go ahead, Hi.
Maria, this is Hi. So as I understand it, real basic terms, the project is facing delays because it's taking a lot more effort to do the work. So the contract is not a lump sum type of contract, but on I guess time and materials type of contract.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Well, the original bid, I think what Hi's saying was a lump sum for the project. We also have rates for, the support and, for 3 years outside the project, right? But we also had ad hoc rates for anything that came up that might have been outside of the project. So what would be helpful is, what are some of the things that were outside the original scope that came up that now we're having to work through to complete the project and use those ad hoc rates instead of the lump sum that they originally had bid. Is that
it is my understanding.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry. It is my understanding that the contract indeed encompassed all the items that are needed for the full implementation. However, it had a limitation on the number of hours that were supposed to be spent on all of these tasks. And unfortunately, it was underestimated, the level of effort, and it is taking us longer. And Oracle is coming back and saying we have run out of hours and we need to add some, hence the need for the additional resources hours.
So Maria, is that because did our scope of our project work change?
No,
Or
it is complex. It is complex, and when Oracle came in, they did not really have a clean grasp of the massive amount of data that we have in the how much we have adjusted the system CCMP to work for JEA, and so that has been a struggle because we don't want to lose key functionality. We want to make sure that it remains a reliable system for our billing.
So how do we get that check and balance, Maria, if an organization like Oracle comes in and provide us an estimate to do the work, and then midway through the work say, well, it's going to take us a lot more. And I know this type of work is not something that you can, like in a building, you can see people working and determine if they're productive or not. How do we get that check and balance here to determine that the efforts, the hours that are put in are productive hours, and we're just not being charged just because people are billing on the time sheets?
I really don't know the answer to that. What we've done is an assessment, quantifying what remains to be done, and addressed it. But in hindsight, I don't know how this could have been done differently. I'm sorry, I'm not a contracts person. They could have
Maria,
made
I could
this.
jump in.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nathan, I know you and Stephen had quite a long conversation about this one, so if you could elaborate
Sure,
on the
yeah.
conversation you guys had and the amount of work that you guys put into reviewing everything that had been done so far.
So yeah, and we definitely reviewed the contract in detail, and the original contract, and keep in mind this was a proprietary negotiation with Oracle. This was not something we competitively bid out. It was a proprietary negotiation with Oracle in which there were specific payment milestone deliverables set up. However, for these unforeseen circumstances where there's these unforeseen project delays, there is stipulation in the contract that allows us to use these ad hoc professional services rates, which we're doing in this case, to cover these unforeseen circumstances.
Lauren, hi, are you guys, do you have any other questions? Are you comfortable? Do we want to have more discussion? I know that Stephen really dug in with his team to review this prior to bringing it to the committee, felt comfortable, had signed off on it and approved it, and felt comfortable with what work had been done, with what they had submitted, and what they were going to be doing moving forward with the ad hoc rates and the negotiations.
How confident are we that this will be the last one?
That was gonna be my question. How do we know this is gonna be it?
Nathan, do
I
you
would
guys?
say, yes, I would say somewhat comfortable. nothing is 100%, predictable, but we have a high level of confidence that this is it.
So
and
the
I will say that,
remainder of the scope, you guys feel comfortable that you have, to the best of our ability, scoped out the remainder of this project, and it's included here.
Yes, ma'am.
I will say one more thing too, Jenny, is that we haven't had any other change orders on this contract as of yet, as far as the total overall cost goes anyway. We haven't had any change orders there. And we've also allocated, we haven't touched on it yet, but allocated $206,000 of the original intended travel expense that has been saved through the COVID working remotely, that we have reduced this the amount by that, the $206,000. So there is some reduction there.
And was there a cost sharing of something that they had already done work on?
Yeah, that's right. So it's also noted in here that the historical plan that's attached that explains the work that's already been done, that's been unexpected, unforeseen work, that Oracle did split the cost of that with JEA. So we are paying the $341,000 amount, which is half of what that those hours show in the historical part of it, which was $682,000.
So there's been discussions, negotiations. Like Nathan said, it was a proprietary award, so there was not a competitive nature to this. And with that does come some of the negotiations and the ability for us to have these relationships and continue conversations and figure out where the issues went wrong and how to remedy those going forward. Sounds like they're comfortable with the scope that is laid out to complete the project. And I guess, does Sheila have any, did we get her thoughts or approval on this? Since this is in her group as well.
We have been working alongside with Sheila.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're comfortable finishing this project and moving forward with it?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee?
Yes, can you briefly speak about the ratification part? The $341,000 ratification. That's done.
Sure. Do you want me to jump back in there, Jenny?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. The $341,000, the partial ratification, was for essentially work they've already started doing that was unforeseen outside of the milestones to cover some of the delays that have happened already. So that is work already completed, and that is the item that was saying that Oracle is splitting the cost for that previously completed work. The hours and the staff plans show $682,000, but JEA is paying half of that, the $341,000 amount. So that would be a ratification since the work is already completed.
Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, what is the new target completion date for this?
The new go live date, Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanks, Brad.
You're welcome.
So I also have just a follow-up. So the support, the 3-year support, it says it's through November of 2021, which is when we would go live. Does that extend out for 3 years since we haven't been using it, or is that support for the implementation itself? How does that?
So typically the way they work, that we buy the licenses from Oracle and we have support from the individuals that wrote the base code. The contract is for individuals that help us implement the solution. So the support remains not only through the duration of the implementation, but beyond that, that is the money that we pay yearly to Oracle for support, but that's an O&M expense.
Yeah,
So this was capitalized while we're implementing, and then we will move over to O&M.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so Jenny, I'll add to that this, after the support expires in this initial agreement, it will be added to our overall support agreement and award that we do annually with Oracle. So that award will be coming later this year. That will combine all of our support agreements, including this one, into that award. So that'll be coming later.
Okay. All right, let's update, and just in parentheses, if you guys could put project completion estimate and update that date. Excuse me. Any other questions or edits or comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 4.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Laura. Okay, and we will roll call through the committee to get your individual approvals, starting with Haivu.
Approved.
Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
And Joe Arfano.
Approved.
All right, thank you. We will move to award number 5. This is an invitation for bid for the purchase and installation of the Bay Meadows Substation Self-Support Tower foundations. So we are installing 3 concrete foundations to support, let's see, it's a casing for a new self-supporting communication tower, which will provide JEA and a major enhancement in our wireless coverage for the area. And there's a note that JEA currently has some sporadic communication issues in that area, and this will address that in addition to accommodating plans for expansion and growth on JEA's wireless network. The purchase also allows the JEA wireless carriers the ability to upgrade the system that they are currently installed on. So we have carriers that are installed on our poles in this situation. And this is a full upgrade, and there's no existing room for us to expand what we currently have. So they've reached the design limits on this pole, and the old tower will be replaced with a new one, and the carriers will move to the new tower. M. Gay Constructors, Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $318,100, and we are expected to have this done mid-August of this year. We only had 2 bidders on this, and so Nathan or Nick, if you guys have any information to provide on that portion, just to give the committee a little bit of extra information there as to the low competition.
Yes. Hi, this is Nick. So I did identify a third potential bidder that had participated in the pre-bid meeting. However, it was the capacity requirements. It was actually their existing workload was the reason that they chose not to bid. So initially, we did expect a low. We did expect a low participation, but we did not expect to get 2. But that was the reason cited for the low participation.
Thanks, Nick. So is this just a little bit more complicated work from a construction standpoint with the wireless side? We just don't have very many people locally that can help us do that.
That's correct. We started with a low number to begin with, which is why we had the pre-bid meeting to try to address it and just get as much buy-in as possible. But at the end of the day, it was really they chose not to. The third bidder chose not to participate.
Okay. Thank you. It looks like our award amount is approximately 10% lower than what we had estimated. So that gives a little bit of confidence from at least assurance that from the two that did bid, we have hopefully the lowest bid is much lower than the second. So have we vetted all the tech specs well and making sure that they are confident they are able to perform this work on this lump sum amount?
Hey, this is Greg Rager.
Hey, Greg.
So the two bidders that submitted bids, we've done probably 6 or 7 of these in the past. They're usually the two that have been the bidders that either are getting it. So this one is a little deeper than normal. It's about 16 foot deep, 10 foot round, 3 of them. So we did expect it to come in a little bit higher than it did, but hey, we'll take what we can get at this point. But we're confident that the MGA can do the work.
Okay, so they've performed successfully in the past on this type of work.
Yes, they have.
Thank you, Greg. Any other comments or questions?
Jenny, it's Joe. Will there be a separate contract for the installation of the towers themselves?
It looks. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, this is Greg again. So this award is only for the foundations, the drilling of the caissons, and then the cage and the concrete itself. The erection of the tower will be handled under a different contract.
Okay. Thank you, Greg.
Any other questions? And that'll be competitively bid, Joe.
Understood.
All right, I will ask for a motion to approve award number 5.
Ricky, so moved.
Joe Orfano, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 5, starting with Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Hai Vu.
Approved.
And Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 6 is a contract increase. This is for our general engineering services for transmission and substation projects. This is primarily used when JEA's in-house engineering resources can't meet the urgent demands of our in-service states. So this is a supplement to our staff. We've got Worley Parsons Group, Inc., being awarded $475,000, and Fred Wilson and Associates also being awarded $475,000. These are, this was originally a 3-year contract with 2 one-year renewals. So we are finishing out the full term and have executed the renewals. So we will go through to December of 2022. And we have 3 bidders originally that we awarded to: Worley Parsons, Fred Wilson, and Stantec, and the original award amount was $1.5 million. Since then, and the way that you guys can, I'll let the business chime in a little bit on how you utilize the different skill sets of the different engineers that we have on contract, but some get used a little bit more than others based off of the type of work that we're asking them to do. So we have done some contract increases for Worley Parsons once before in November. And go ahead. Is that Greg? Can you put put yourself
Yeah,
on mute
I'm
for me?
sorry.
That's okay. All right, I thought Laura was asking a question. Okay, so we've got contract increases that we have done for Worley Parsons back in November of 2020. And then also we did for the first renewal, we then also increased Worley Parsons and Fred Wilson to get us through that, and Santec to get us through that first renewal. This award is for a contract increase just for the two, Worley Parsons and Fred Wilson. And I'll ask if Rodney wants to add a little bit more detail on why it's just the two of them.
No comment unless somebody looking for something specific.
It's just the specific work that we need them to do for this upcoming year. Is this through the term? Do we think they'll be back with additional increases once work's identified?
Yeah, I believe I have a statement in there. Most of the time, this is we forecast what we see in front of us in a capital budget for the upcoming year, and I mean that can change. It seems like almost quarterly. So this is what we see right now. It's quite possible that once we get into FY22, we'll be back and need more. But I do think that renewing and getting through the term, given the current market conditions, is probably the best thing to do.
Okay. Is this for us to also utilize that last renewal, or have we already amended the contract for that?
This will be to support the renewal as well.
Okay. Let's go ahead and change the award request to renewal / contract increase so that it's clear that this second renewal we are utilizing now.
Understood.
And if I missed that in your write-up, I'm sorry.
I believe if they could scroll up a little bit, the term was extended to the end of 22.
Okay, I saw that part. If we're asking, I just want to make sure the committee understands what they are approving. So you guys would be approving the renewal through the last renewal that is available, and we believe currently with the projects that are slated that this amount should get us through the end of the term. But if we need to come back to the awards committee, if new projects get assigned to them or we run out of money, then you'll see us again for this one.
That's right.
All right. Any questions or comments from the committee?
And Jenny, you mentioned the amendments to this contract. Each firm has a different skill sets, right? And then so the award of the work essentially match the skill sets with the projects that we have planned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the best estimate.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Jenny, this is Brandy Smith with the business unit. Would you like me to elaborate a little bit on that question?
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. So Rodney did a great job of course, showing that table. We aim to do our engineering in-house with our substation and transmission engineering team. But as you all know, sometimes there are, last minute projects or something that comes up, such as a foundation design where we know that, say, Fred Wilson and Associates, would be able to respond quickly for that design. And so we'll reach out to them and have them support us to meet the in-service date of that particular project. And for example, Worley is very good at both civil and electrical design. So, that's why their portion of the contract, of course, they also were evaluated highest during the first award. So we would reach out to them if the scope was a little more complex, knowing that they too can perform quickly and give us a good deliverable to meet the in-service date. So that's why those two are higher and more utilized. We have great experience with them and good performance.
Thanks, Brandy. That was great. That
Okay.
was a great response. Thank you. Any questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 6.
This is Ricky. Jenny approved. I so moved.
Laura Dunn,
Thanks,
second.
Ricky. Thanks, Laura. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 6, starting with Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Laura Dutton,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
and Hai Vu.
Approved.
Thank you. Our last award is an invitation for bid, award number 7. This is for St. Johns River Coal Terminal and Conveyor Demo Remediation and Restoration. This one is for, like I said, the SJRPP conveyor system that interconnects with Blunt Island. And GSD Trading USA, Inc. is the recommended awardee in the amount of $5,764,000. We are expected to have this project completed in July of 2022. We had quite a bit of competition, and I'll let Rodney chime in, or Lisa, one of you guys chime in on this, but this was done quite some time ago. We did a 2-step process. We did requests for qualifications, and then we had 10 that we qualified with the packages back in April of 2020. And then we qualified 8 of those, and then went to a bid submission, which was an ITN for low bid. So if you just want to, it looks like we had, great competition. Our estimate was lower, almost 10% lower than what we were thinking we were going to have to spend. But if you could just chime in a little bit on why we had the project delayed and the discussions that we had with the lowest bidder for honoring their price since it's been so long, that would be helpful for the committee.
This is Rodney. Just one quick correction. This was this is an IFB, so they're straight bid lump sum for the schedule of work. So the project was put on hold maybe about a year and some change ago, about a year ago, when they were evaluating what to do with the conveyor system. The scope had originally been in total wrecking, total power park demo, and there was a question of whether or not the coal conveyor system might have some value to be sold with the power park. After the evaluation was done, it was determined to proceed, but at the time when we put it on hold, we just were riding the bid validity out, which was 90 days. Prior to that point in time, I had a discussion with Dave Maggette in general counsel as to how long we could hold it, and the discussion was basically that as long as they're willing to honor their bid, we don't necessarily have to rescind it and then go back out for bid. So we discussed we had several touch points with GSD over the last year regarding the overall plan for the power park and the coal conveyor, and at which point it was released to us to go ahead and do the work. We brought GSD out. They walked the system again. They met with Aptum and the Northside folks that are going to be watching the project, and they agreed to still hold their bid price. If we were to go back and rescind it and bid it now, we'd lose probably 3 to 6 months on the bid cycle and getting into a new contract. And again, this kind of goes back to the market condition thing. It wouldn't be in our best interest to go and get new bids at this point in time to get this work done. And additionally, with the potential sale of the power park, we need to get the work completed as soon as possible. Total wrecking is slated to be out of there in the next few months. So this would be the critical path item, I guess, after that to being able to sell the power park or do whatever they're going to do with it. So those are the primary drivers and the reason why we're wanting to proceed and go forward. And GSD has made the commitment. They're very comfortable with their price.
Great. That was very helpful. Thank you, Rodney. Any questions or comments?
Jenny, Joe Orfana, question for Ryan Heaton. He knows I'm going to ask this, but I have to. Are the original budget estimates and this lower amount included in his total budget to dismantle and remediate the property?
Hey, Joe. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to verify that. You do that, Ryan. And secondly,
Yes, sir.
will the dismantlement delay our ability to transfer the deed, the joint deed from FPL JEA to JEA solely? Are we going to be delayed in our ability to sell the property because of this dismantlement?
This dismantlement should be complete by July of next year. We will need to complete that and relieve FPL of all their requirements at that point. So I don't believe there's going to be any delays on this project, and it is a part of the original $68 million bid.
Okay, because our disclosure currently says that the remediation, the dismantlement and remediation will be complete by the third calendar quarter of this year. So I think we're going to need to circle back on that.
Yeah, we'll need to check and see if remediation means this or remediation of the site. Right?
Because this is a lot of this conveyors way
it's
off.
on Blunt Island. It's not on Fire Park property per se.
Okay.
Part of it. Part of it is, it goes through that marsh.
Yeah.
Obviously. But part of it is also across the street, across Extra Drive, and so it's not complete all on STRPV property. So we need to see if it's part of the remediation of the whole site. Is this part of that or not?
This part is going to be outside of that. So the STRPP portion, is going to be outside of it. That is correct.
Okay, great. I'll follow back up, Ryan. Appreciate that.
Hopefully we're okay.
I think we're okay.
You'll just reread them. I think we'll be all right.
I think we're okay. And we use terms like expected to be and stuff like that. So I think we're okay. I thought I'd raise that because I'm the disclosure guy. So thank you, Jenny and Ryan.
You're very welcome, Ryan. Great job. All right. So, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, just I know that we talked to OGC and the low bidder about the legality and the willingness to hold the low prices. But did we talk to the other bidders about our plan? Is there a potential for protest of it? Someone said, if I can bid on this project today, knowing what I know now, I would go in at a lower price. Is there a possibility?
I believe that, when did we send the intent to award, Rodney? So I think we likely sent that, back when we bid this out. That would have been their opportunity to protest high. And so just the fact that they were willing to hold, the low bid was willing to hold, is who we would continue to have those negotiations with, just to make sure they were comfortable. If they had come back and said, we can't do this project, we would have rescinded it and then we would have rebid it.
Okay.
But that's a great question. All that was done, through our proper channels. Go ahead. Is it Julie?
Yeah, this is Julie Davis, Office of General Counsel. I'm not aware of anything in the statute. I mean, the statute or the procurement code that would require you to rebid this based on a delay, or anything in the operational procedures. So if you feel like this is in JEA's best interest, you had the low bid, I think you should be okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good discussion. Any other questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 7.
This is Ricky, so moved.
Joe Orfano, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 7, starting with Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Laura Dutton,
Approved.
and Haivu.
Approved.
Thank you. So all of our awards for this agenda have been approved. So the entire agenda for the June 24th, 2021 meeting have been signed off on. Is there any other business to come before the awards committee? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day and a safe weekend, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.